Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to ChriswithaC. Hope you are doing well. Thank you very much for joining me today. Now guys, as you know, for a while now I've been championing the Radiolink RC8X handset. It was a present from my wife and daughter, and I very much like this handset. I've got on with it really well, and in fact so much so, it's been about a year now since I've actually got this, so I have got a 1 year review coming up of this handset. Now, Radiolink actually took note of my videos and got in touch with me and asked me would I like to look at some of their products. Now, obviously the answer was going to be yes. All right. They initially asked me did I want to look at the FPB section for my Radiolink RC8X handset. Now, I've been thinking over the past couple of weeks about how I can segregate my Nitro car, or Nitro cars, so that's a secret. Maybe there's might be another one coming. We don't know. Let's just leave that there. But how we can segregate my Nitro cars from my brushless. Now, Radiolink asked me, would I like to look at the RC6GS handset? Now, this is the version 3, and I thought to myself, well, that's a perfect example because a lot of the receivers and stuff I stock up on, all right, and they're from the previous generation, from the RC6S, to go on with the dual protocol of my RC8, and I very much like the whole ecosystem thing. I've got a thing for it, you know, as I mentioned. That's why we ended up with the X-Max and XRT. Now, obviously, I'm going through the whole armor scenario, and with the handsets, I can purchase the receivers. I can purchase these nice and cheap. I can get hold of them. They're easy to use. They're easy to bind, and the features are very rich. So it was definitely something I was interested on doing. So massive shout out to Radiolink for asking me to do this video. In this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the handset. I'm going to show you a couple of little tricks. I'm going to show you the settings, how to update it. And then what we're going to do is actually fit it to the ST, guys. So I want to remove my RF8FG receiver from that car, put in the one that comes with the RC6GS, and just exclusively use that handset for my Nitro vehicles. So, right, no further ado, huge thank you to Radiolink, and let's dive down and have a little look, shall we? Come on then. Right, okay, let's just have a quick sip of my coffee, guys. This is obviously the packaging for the Radiolink RC6GS. As I mentioned, this is the version 3. Let me take a sip of my coffee. Right. Now, the funny thing was, I was actually looking at this handset because, as I say, I have an idea of how the Radiolink handsets work, and I've been a big fan of the RC8X. Now, obviously, this is a fully feature-packed handset. I've been using it for a while. There are some marks, but I've been using it solid now for a year, and this handset only. I've got near enough all my cars except my XRT on the handset, and I absolutely adore it. And the good thing is about this, all right, is as I say, I can use the new faster protocol with, I think it's the R8FG receiver, and I think it's the R4 that the Radiolink brought out, or I can use the older receivers, which is absolutely perfect, by the way, for most people. All the new receiver actually gives you is a faster response time. So the idea is with this is a lot of the features from the RC8 are actually available on this, but there's a big difference in price. So price of purchase for the RC8 is around about £349. Not cheap. It does come with a load of accessories, but the RC6, a lot of the features that I use, e.g. gyro, endpoints, dual rates, even down to the Nitros, fail-safe. Another one is obviously your telemetry and stuff like that. And the good thing is with this is you can actually use a LiPo battery as well. A lot of the speedrunning guys actually use this handset. Now, I think this price is roughly around about £40 here in the UK. And the features it has is very usable. And what I'm trying to get over here is simplicity. I found this very easy to use. Yes, it is a touchscreen handset. Let's just turn it on a second. So touchscreen, loads of data, loads of information. But a lot of people don't actually like that sort of thing. I personally quite like the fact that it's very much like a mobile phone. But the beauty of this, you get a dot matrix backlit screen on the display, obviously, and all your information you actually need while you're out driving is already on the display there. The menu system's easy to get in with. So a little look at the packaging there, guys. Now, obviously, this is Radiolink's, what they're actually saying about 7 channels, all right? 600 meters ground distance. Now, what that actually means is if you think of a circle, all right, you're able to go 600 meters in any direction, all right? So that's your ground distance. So it's essentially like you draw a circle, there's your 600 meters, you can travel out 600 meters in any way, all right? So that's the easiest way I can describe that. Timer and FPV head tracking, which is obviously awesome. Compatible with TBS Crossfire module. Now, I don't use that feature, so obviously I have never really looked into that, so I'm not going to pretend I know about that. Gyro integrated. I do use the gyros. As you know, a lot of the time when I'm out running, especially with this handset, my gyro is set up here. And what I tend to do is run a sort of base rate of 20%. Depending on what I'm doing. If I'm jumping, I'll knock it back to 0. But 20% is roughly between 20 and 30%. Some cars I maybe run at 50. So the idea is with this, same thing. You can use your gyro. 30 model storage. So you can have 30 cars all on the same handset, and your handset will be absolutely fine. So basically, self-setting customizable gyro sensitivity, and what they mean by this is that little dial there they show you on the diagram here, or sort of illustration, is actually to control your gyro. Programmable switches, so obviously like when I'm crawling I tend to use, I believe, let me think, yeah, it's that one there to change, that button there to change my high and low gears on my crawler. And obviously you can set the 4-wheel steer, and all the 4-wheel steer functions and everything are actually on this handset as well. So very feature packed, very sort of easy to get into as well, these handsets. So opening the box up, you get a little lanyard. Obviously this is obviously to attach to your handset, Radiolink. I've got one of these myself on my handset, sorry, on my bag. So I've actually got one of those on there. Let's get the handset out now. So, just going to remove, let's just get this out. Now, I've been wanting to do this video for a little while, and I do apologise to Radiolink. Obviously, they have messaged me a few times, asked me when it was going to come out. And I'll explain to you what this is in a moment now. And it was just more of a case of getting everything ready to actually do this video. Like I say, I've recently got into Nitros, and I kind of knew that I wanted a separate handset for my Nitro car. Basically I can just leave, enjoy it. Right, so let's move the packaging. What we got there, declaration of conformity, obviously that's just usual stuff for obviously coming into the EU. Now there's the handset, guys, and we'll go over that in a second. Loads of features on there. The handset comes with the R7FG. These are full gyro, 7 channels, and obviously you can use serial bus on here as well if you wanted to. PPM, very feature packed, and dual antennas. So what this actually will help you with is distance, and this is why I use the R8FG. Is all down to distance. All right, so basically with the dual antenna you get a really nice long range. Very feature packed receivers. You can get hold of these on many places. A lot of the model shops over here in the UK will sell you Radiolink receivers, and on top of which you can purchase them on AliExpress. All over the world, they're easy to get hold of and relatively cheap for what they are. The good thing is, for example, let me just show you, the more budget options, that I tend to go with, receiver-wise, is the R6FGs. I use these on a lot of my sort of just normal bashers, and I can get 2 of these off AliExpress for around about £13 delivered, and this is why I put these in my car. So they but to date, I have not had one fail on me, so they are really good receivers, those. Now, this little wire here, and this is why another reason why I think it's a good idea for me to use it. This wire is to sit between your battery and your ESC, or basically to go into your receiver. This will actually give you telemetry. All right, so another thing I've noticed with Nitros is the difference is, I suppose, with electric cars is once you get to LVC, the car will die off. You know, obviously, that the car is no longer going to go forward. It just stops dead. The problem is with Nitro cars is they get to a point, and obviously the car will just basically plow on. So this is where the fail-safe feature comes in. But it is also nice to know where your battery is. So this will attach between, obviously, on the car, and I'll show you that at some point. Basically, and that will give you telemetry straight to your handset, letting you know, obviously, your signal strength on your battery. Instructions on how to use the controller. Anything in there that I need to let you know about? Not really, I don't think. Obviously, this is all discretional. You can look through and obviously get any information that you want out of it. So let's move all this out of the way. Now, the handset, guys, as you can see, a bit of an older design. All right, if you come in comparison, obviously, to the RC8X, but very comfortable. All right, for a start, you've got a nice little area here for your thumb to sit inside. All these buttons are programmable. Obviously, you've got toggle switches here. That's a 3-way switch there. You've got a 3-way switch by there. Your aux button. You've also got throttle control. So obviously, if you want to throttle up, and then you've got your steering rate there. Nice foam grip on the steering wheel. I really like the feel of that, actually. Big antenna. So obviously, the difference is with this, and this is why a lot of sort of speedrunning guys will use it, is because of this extended range. Now, you can actually buy another attachment on the front here to extend your range further. Again, loads of people use them. USB for obviously updating your firmware, and I'll show you that in this video. On-off switch, obviously there. Now, the handset itself will allow you to run on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 AA's. Or, should you want to actually use your LiPo, which I am going to be doing. All right, as you can see, you can take the battery tray out. It's exactly the same scenario as what is in my RC8X. Now, this battery, all right, I bought 2 of these. Let me just show you. These batteries I picked up off Banggood. All right, RC8X, 7.4 volts, 2,800 mAh. Now, why is this important? Okay, if you think of your handset as a TV sort of substation, sending out your signal to all your viewers. Now, years ago, obviously, before cable TV came in, we were reliant on aerials. So the more power you can get to the aerial, this is where I'm going with this, so bear with me, stick with me, all right, okay? The more power you can get to the aerial and transmitting your signal, the better your driving experience is going to be, and less signal loss. All right, now, with a standard battery pack, all right, you're reliant on 1.5 volts, obviously nickel metal hydride batteries, which unfortunately can become a costly affair. If you're using rechargeable batteries, stuff like that is absolutely fine. Some people prefer to use those. Right, okay, sorry about that, guys. Just had to sort my dogs out. They were barking at the neighbours. Okay, bouncing back. So as I say, you're very, very limited to what batteries you can put in here. Sometimes you can find good AA's. It's obviously nice that you can take this out with you should anything back off. Now, these batteries I picked up, they were £8, okay, shipped to my front door. I bought 2 of them because obviously I found them. 7.4 volts, guys, all right? So obviously a 2S battery. So the beauty of that's going to improve the signal strength on my handset, number one. Number two, they're 2,800 mAh, so you get a good amount of battery life out of these batteries. Now, I generally only have to charge up my battery on my handset, I would say probably maybe once a month. Maybe I top my battery up, and that isn't flat. So it's just the fact that I take it out to top it up to make sure that obviously I've got plenty of battery life when I go out. Now, as you can see, I do kind of always run about with these batteries. So this is the one that came with my RC8X. That's 1700 mAh, 7.4 again. And these are 2,800. Now, the beauty of this, with it being a big tray at the bottom here, all right, you can fit this in. So be aware, there is a plus and minus here, all right, and you need to keep that in mind when you're attaching. So let's just put the battery in. Okay, so that is now connected. Okay, sits in there absolutely beautifully. I will put a link in the description to where you can pick these up as well, guys. I've been using them for a while in my RC8X, and I've had no issues at all. Right, turning the handset on, guys. As you can see, you then get your dot matrix display. You get your model information. I think the best thing I can do, actually, I'll change cameras now, because obviously with the lighting I've got in here, you might not be able to see this. So let's take this off here. Everyone loves a peel. Oh, no. Okay, I'm gonna pause you. I'm gonna take this film off, and then I'll change cameras. Right, okay, so I've changed over camera, guys. Obviously a little bit easier for you to see. So let's just quickly turn the handset on. As you can see, you're greeted by the main screen here, okay? So, obviously, dot matrix display. It is backlit as well. So obviously that's a good thing. Now, to get into the menu, you press exit and enter at the same time. That will take you into the drop-down menu. Now, to cycle through your menu, you've got these buttons here. All right, so these buttons will obviously correspond to, as you can see, changing through, and then you enter. So let's say we want to go into language. We don't want to change that because obviously I don't want to get stuck. And yeah, just easy, very easy, simple system to use. So first things first, obviously you've got language, then you've got your model. So model is obviously to change over the name of the vehicle. So there you go. You obviously to change over to whichever car you've got. So you have got 30 models in there. Then you've got your endpoint adjustments. So endpoint, obviously you have throttle and steering. So let's say I wanted to change over the steering endpoint. What I could do here is it this dial here, or no, actually I could dial it back like so. All right, I'm going to put it back to 100, and then all you would do is press enter and then exit. On number 4, you have steering exponential. So what this actually means, and a lot of racers will use this, essentially, if you're coming into a corner and you're applying, let's say, full lock, you might not want the car to give you full lock straight away. And a lot of racers use it basically to smooth out their steering in corners. So you could have, like, I don't know, should we say, let's enter that. You may want, and as you can see, this is giving you your steering curve. All right, so I'm going to go back now, set that back to 0. I don't actually use this. If I had a car that's a little bit twitchy, I could actually change all this up. Oh, is that back? No, that's -6. Hang on. So it is quite handy if you've got a car that basically doesn't steer how you want it to steer. So what you can do is slow it down, and maybe on the first maybe 15-20%, and then all of a sudden gives you full lock. I know a lot of cars are really fast on steering servos, so you may have it that obviously when you turn left or right, that it gives you too much steering all of a sudden. So this will essentially smooth out your steering rate for you. Right, next, then we have steering speed setting. All right, so as you can see, entering in there, you've got 100%. You can knock that right down to 0. Very easy to use. Then you've got throttle exponential. So exactly the same thing. All right, exactly the same thing. as what I was saying between your power bands, obviously. So essentially, you can have your throttle. So if you apply said throttle like so, and this is pretty good obviously for the speed run guys, you can set it. So basically it gives you maybe like 10-15% and then full throttle all of a sudden. So and why the speed run guys would do that is obviously at the start they don't want to send all the power to the wheels and then light the wheels up. Right, okay, so the next one is throttle speed setting, exactly the same as we mentioned with the steering. ABS for anti-locking braking system. Then you've got throttle acceleration setting. Idle up, which is a handy one that I'm going to be using. So for example, you can have the rate of, let's go back to there. So basically I can, as soon as the car starts, I can program a button here, all right, is basically it gives me 10% extra throttle on startup, and essentially like a choke on a car. And then what I can do is, so let's set that 10%, and then obviously you can have a button that's all programmed up. So obviously I'm going to knock that back to 0. No, hang on. Subtrim I use all the time, obviously, for centering your servos. Always go to sub trim before you set trim, guys. So when you're setting your cars up, obviously on your bench or when you're out in the field, set your sub trim first. So the handset, well, let's say your steering's like this, all right? What you might want to do with sub trim is basically add enough of a percentage so the wheels are straight. Now, mechanically, you can set that, but they never quite perfectly line up. So this will always be applied at point of turning the car on. So you'll have, and then should later on you want to adjust your trim, you can. Moving on, obviously reverse. Reverse means channel reversing. So obviously you can change over your where there's, let's say your throttle is going the wrong way when you hit the gas, you can change it here. Then something that I've not actually seen before is, let's have a look, is obviously you've got your dual rate, which is a useful thing. ATL, brake side adjustment. Now, I'm not quite sure what that is. I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of these features I don't use. You've got programmable mixing. So obviously you can set up, especially for the crawler guys, that's another handy one. Auxiliary channel setting. So yeah, really handy. Obviously you can have an auxiliary channel. Name, so you can name obviously the model of your handset here. It's very easy to do. Obviously go across, enter, blah blah blah. So I'm going to come back out there. Alarm obviously is low battery voltage alarm, RSSI. So where we mentioned about this attachment here, when we get to a certain voltage you can set it here. So obviously you can set it, let's say you want to take it on to 6 volts. So as soon as we hit 6 volts, the alarm goes off. All right. So again, another handy little thing. Gyro setting, as you know, very easy to use. Obviously, how much gyro you want to apply. There you go. FS stands for fail-safe setting. Very handy if you're a Nitro guy as well. So what would happen is obviously if you're let's say your car gets out of range, especially with a Nitro, and your last input was throttle, and obviously the car is now hurtling towards something, and obviously what will happen with a failsafe, it'll automatically apply the brakes on and stop your car from rolling into imminent death or hurting someone. So failsafe I do use on my Nitro cars. Idle up speed, another handy one. Subsidiary ID setting, sorry. DSC, simulator head tracking, crossfire port. Obviously, that's obviously for the FPV. Then you got your timer, and then obviously reset. So I'm going to reset this a second, yes, just to make sure I haven't messed up any settings. Right, okay. So that's all the settings that are in the handset. A little bit of a longer section there. What I'm going to do now, I'm now going to set it up so obviously we can update the firmware on this. I'm going to show you how to update the firmware. Right, okay guys, so I'm going to show you how to update your RC6GS version 3, okay? First thing you want to do is obviously go to Radiolink, type in RC6GS. Obviously, it's going to bring you to this page. Go straight to the Radiolink link, like so. What you're then going to go to is support up in the top right corner. All right, then go upgrade firmwares. All right, so it'll take you to now obviously the Radiolink website. Now on here, obviously it gives you a full link of basically what to update and where. Go right to the bottom, all right, and go to download. All right, then click on firmwares, like so, and obviously this website is in Chinese, okay, so you will need, obviously I'm using Chrome, so I'm going to put English. Oh wait, I think I'm just going to say yes, because I have just upgraded my browser. Right, okay, on here is a list of all the handsets they make, and obviously any firmware. As you can see, we've even got firmware for some of the receivers. Again, all available to download. ELRS, obviously that's your signal booster, change firmware. So what we're actually looking for is the RC6GS, all right, V3. So that's the one that we have, as you can see, same handset right there. So we're going to click on that, like so. That's then going to open up a page. Straight away, well done Google, you have translated it for me. There is telling you how to actually update this. So the first thing we need to do before anything else is download the firmware. Okay, so now you can check your firmware version on your handset. All right, so if we go back into the menu and then go to, let's go to, I'm trying to think where it is now. So bear with me 2 seconds while I try and remember. It is. Is it in there? Oh, there you go. Sorry. In language. So it's actually telling you the latest firmware. So what is on here at the moment is 6.8.8.2. All right. So in here, the download for the latest firmware is... bear with me. Radiolink should tell me what the latest firmware is. If you download it normally, there you go. So we're going to click on this link. So the actual latest firmware they have there, all right, is, so we've got 6.8.2. So 6.8.2 isn't actually even on yet, but the latest firmware available, they did an update in December, is this zip file here. All right, so we're going to download it. As you can see, it's done it here. Now, this will appear in your downloads. All right, I'm going to pause 2 seconds because obviously I'm going to unzip this and put it in a folder. You will need to. In fact, let's just set it up for, there you go, RC6GS. Like so. So we're now going to extract this to open a new tab. Where's extract? Extract all. Browse. Found it on your desktop. So there's the one we just set up, and we want to select this folder, and that is going to now extract straight into this folder. There you go. So that is for Mac. All right. So if you're updating via Mac now. Next one would be for Windows. So I'm just going to do the same procedure and download the file. Right, okay, so guys, obviously, first thing you're going to need to do is obviously turn off your handset. It's quite important this. You cannot update the firmware with the handset turned on. There is a little tab on the side of the handset here. You're going to need to remove this, all right? So keep hold of this little bit because obviously you don't want water getting in that port. Next, you are going to need to... find yourself a USB cable here. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and find it. Right, so usually guys, normally you get a cable with these for updating, but yeah, that's one thing I will say, it didn't come with it. Now, so the cable you are going to need is a standard micro USB cable, okay? So USB to micro USB. Right, okay, so we've got our firmware downloaded, guys. I'm going to show you now how to update this. So first things first, turn off your handset, okay? You want to connect your, and this is quite important, you want a USB to USB micro cable, all right? So it doesn't come with the handset. So we've got tons of these lying about. I mean, I've got a bunch of them. I've got another pile over there. Plug it into the side port by here. Obviously, this is, you need to remove this little piece of plastic, as you can see there. Keep that safe. Plug it into the handset like so. All right, very easy to do this. So that is now connected, as you can see. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn the handset on. All right, the screen will go blank. As you can see down the bottom, we've got a USB drive detected. Now, just to make this easy for you guys, I've actually gone ahead and installed this just to show. So all we're going to do now, all right, in USB drive E, so that is the handset, we're going to go copy the firmware you've downloaded to your desktop and paste it in. All right, now you need to wait for this screen to happen. Let me just zoom in, as you can see. So the screen now is telling you that it's complete. There you go, copied across. So let me zoom back out. Okay, now turn off your handset, disconnect your cable. All right, and it is simple as turning your handset on. So handset is now updated, guys, and how you know this is by going to, oh no, if we go to language, click enter, and down the bottom we are now on 6.9.4a FHSS RX. So this is the latest firmware version available from Radiolink, and that is how you update your handset. Very, very easy, honestly. And make sure that this little piece of plastic that you put back in. So what I'm going to do now, all right, is I'm going to get my ST on Habao ST on the table. We're going to install this receiver, all right, which is the R7FG, and we're going to pop that into the car. Or do I? Actually, maybe I'll show you how to bind. Do I use this, is the question. Yeah, we will use this one in the ST. All right, I'm going to pop that into the car. And then what we'll do from there then is I'll show you how to set up your endpoints and everything else on your RC6GS version 3. First impressions though, I do like the way the trigger feels. Steering wheel tension, I've got used to that. It's very much like my RC8X handset. I like the fact that obviously all these buttons by here are nice and easy to grab hold of when you need them. And obviously I'm going to show you how to set up the gyro as well. Right, okay guys, so I have got my Habao ST on the bench. I've just taken out this receiver. So remember I mentioned to you about the R8FG. This is what I've been using. I use these in all my larger scale trucks, okay? So e.g. the Outcasts, the X-Max, the XRT. This is all destined for that truck, those trucks. And I very much like these. They're really good and they work brilliantly with my RC8X. Now, the one I'm putting in here is the one that came with the handset, which is the R7FG. All right, very simple to do, very easy, obviously, and it gives you the indication on the side. Let's just dial in a little bit better. I don't know if you can see. There you go. So as you can see, there's numbers on the side. You've got channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then obviously moving on. There's a closer look at the receiver. Okay. And then obviously your telemetry port is up the top here. All right, so I'm now going to zoom out a second. There you go. I'm going to install this in now. Make sure obviously you want to turn 2 to burn. And again, even being a Nitro, I know that obviously which one is which. This is turning. So obviously on here, you've got your minus, plus, and signal. So your minus will be your dark wire. So I'm going to place that in there like so. And then we're going to go burn, which is this servo. That is then going to go in there. And also, I also run an on-off switch on my receiver box. And I'm going to put that in anywhere. Alright, so as long as I've got power to turn it on and off, it's good. All this essentially does is break a circuit. So that can go in that port. Like, I would if I could see it. I'll tell you what, let's pop it in that one and put it in the end port, shall we? Like so, there you go. Right, okay. Connect my battery, obviously for my receiver pack. Now this should power on. There you go, I can see it flashing. So that's telling me it needs binding. Alright, now with these in particular, there is a little, let me just see if I can zoom in again. There you go. On the side here, there is a little bind button. This will also change over to gyro feature, and I'll show you that in a moment. So with that, make sure your handset is turned on. So I'm just going to do that now. My handset is now turned on. And I'm going to turn my receiver on. And actually, it's already bound, guys. So I have steering. As you can see, the light has gone green. Now, if I want to run a gyro, all right, I'm going to get yourself a little screwdriver. You press 3 times. Let me get something smaller. Bear with me. So you press 3 times to change the status of your receiver. All right. So this little option here. 1, 2, 3. As you can see, that's now in binding mode. So that you want to change that. There you go. And that has now got your gyro turned on. And I'll show you your gyro in a moment, guys. But we have steering. We've got throttle. As you can see, the linkages are working. And also, now the gyro is turned on here. It's gone from green to red. So, absolutely awesome that that's all plugged in. Now, I'm going to quickly zoom away. I'm going to put all this back into the receiver box neatly. I want to glue this down because obviously I can then run a gyro if I wanted to. So that is something I'm going to do, and then we're going to revert back to the handset. I'll see you in a second. Right, okay, so while I'm putting it all back together, guys, a couple of little tips is obviously, especially to get the maximum out of your receivers, make sure you use an antenna tube. I know a lot of guys don't, but the more you can get that antenna out and about, the better your signal's going to be. Now, obviously, this receiver does come with 2 wires. So I normally tuck one inside the receiver box, and then the other one I will have as long as I can up my antenna tube. Now, that's all in there. Let's just check that we have power one more time. All right, so what should happen now is I'll turn my handset on. Right, okay, guys, so just to kind of show you now, obviously turning the car on. Let's turn the car on. There you go. So the handset, you've got steering, everything feels fast and responsive, so that's good. And we've got throttle. Now, first thing is my steering is reversed. All right, so we're going to move the car over this way a second, just so I can show you the handset at the same time. So I'm going to go into my menu. Enter. Oh, no, there you go. Going back. So as you can see, we now have the signal up the top. So let's go into my menu. We want to go to where are we to? Reverse. Okay. So steering, if I turn right, it's going left. So I click on there and change that to reverse, click enter, and then back out. I can now turn right, turn left, and everything is fine. All right. we're now going to go to sub trim. All right, and what I want to do is first of all center my steering. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is slowly and gradually straighten these wheels up till they're straight. Now, the other option to doing this, because obviously I've added a lot of sub trim there, is what I would recommend you doing here is going to 0 first. All right, and I'm going to mechanically, first of all, set up my my steering, because every handset is different. So I'll pause here 2 seconds. All right, I'm going to mechanically change over the steering so it's centered before I add any sub trim. You should always start on mechanical level first. Right, okay, so I have now centered it as much as I can. Unfortunately, the servo horn would only allow me to go in a certain place. The good thing is, obviously, with this car, is I do have a turnbuckle here, obviously, to adjust this. So I've just adjusted the turnbuckle and the steering is relatively straight. Now, if I'm looking at the car, all right, so I'm going to turn the car around a second. What I'm looking for is those wheels to be perfectly straight. All right, so what I'm going to do here is just add a touch of, where we're looking. So I'm looking at the up the top here. I can just see sub trim. I want to add maybe a little bit to the right. There you go. So I've added maybe, what are we looking at? Plus 13 on the sub trim, so as you can see here. All right, enter back out of there. So also now I want to make sure, because I have enabled the gyro on the receiver, I'm going to go to, where are we to? I'm going to find my gyro, click enter, standard gyro. So this now should allow, as you can see, as I turn the car, so you should have the opposite. So I'm going to go down, gyro, put the gyro at 100%. Okay, so that now, unfortunately, is going the wrong way. So we go VR. And now, as you can see, my gyro is doing what it's meant to do. So that is that. We want to name the car. So let's go. We'll go S. No, go back. Right, so let's change it to Habao. H O B O A, and then we're going to go maybe ST, S, T, and then we're going to click exit. So the name now is About ST. So as you can see up the top here, now we now have About ST, so that's good. Right, okay guys, so 2 things I had to do off camera. Now, first things first, my gyro was actually facing So as I turned the wheels, basically what was happening is the wheels were not actually correcting the steering. What it would have done was basically cause the car to turn around. So easy way of solving that, I just get myself a little prong or something like that and dip into the receiver box, and all you got to do is that little button we used for binding earlier on, you just press twice and that will reverse your gyro. Now the other thing is, on the handset, this button here is technically my channel 3, all right, okay? So if you it's now programmed to VR, and as you can see, I could turn the rate of my gyro up and down according to where I want it. So if I go in, there's 30%, it's just enough to correct it, maybe a little bit less. Okay, so now at 20%, just a little bit to keep those wheels straight. I normally run it around about 30%, so I'm going to leave that on there. And that is it for that. Right, okay. So now, endpoints. Endpoints are quite important. And I think what I'll do is put everything back in the receiver box, and I'll show you what I mean by this, okay? So I'll show you how to set your endpoints. Right, okay, so I've put the car on the table, guys. As you can see, wheels are facing straight. I've got it all turned on. Now, endpoints, why are they important? Okay, so your servo only has a limited amount of throw. Think of a clock, all right? So a clock essentially will keep going around, all right? But your servo will only allow you to go to a certain movement before mechanically, you cannot turn the wheels anymore. So what I mean by this, all right, is there'll always be a point where, let's see if I can show you on the camera here. There'll always be a point here, okay, of where that's better, right there. There'll always be a point here of the most I can turn that steering wheel before the servo saver is overworking. So essentially you're pushing against the servo saver because the wheels won't turn any further. So what we need to do now is obviously go into the handset. We need to go to EPA, which is here. So we're going to go to ST, which is our steering. Okay, so we're going to go now and set the endpoint for the left hand side. So as you can hear, that servo is, and we want no noise on that servo. Can you hear it? So 78 at 78%. You can just still hear it. 78%. So we want basically for the wheels not to turn any further. So if I turn it up, as you can see, the wheels will keep turning, but at 87% there is where the wheels stop turning. So we're going to click OK, and let's move over to the right hand side. So we're now adjusting the right hand, the way the car steers. So at 81% there, yeah, 80%, that is where we've got full lock each side without stressing out that servo. And the same would apply obviously to my throttle. So I'm going to go ahead and set that up in a moment. But so now we have, okay, the gyro obviously is turned off at the moment, and that is now programmed into the VR button here. As you can see, if I turn it to 100%, I can knock it all the way back, and that's nothing. We have the model programmed. You can obviously, as you can see, we have, and it updates it in real time where you set your endpoints, as you can see. So that's all good in that sense. I'm now going to go ahead and set up my throttle endpoints as well, and I'll see you in a second, guys. Right, okay, so I've got it all warmed up, guys. I'm just going to put my glow starter in. Obviously I've got my handset turned on there, so I'm just going to give it a quick pull. There we go, so we are all started up now. And just to show you, obviously the car is now, I've got steering, and I also have throttle, so that's good. It's all teamed up now, so I'm going to let this warm up a little bit, and the next part of this video we'll take it out and use the handset, and I'll tell you how it feels. But yeah, quite a simple process. I wouldn't mind setting up idle up now, and yeah, in the next part we'll take the car out for a run. How's that? Right guys, okay, so I'm out testing now the RC6GS handset by Radiolink. I've got it paired up to my About ST here, as I mentioned obviously in the kind of download part. I was showing how you set it all up. Now I am having a few issues with this car at the moment, so I'm hoping this is going to start for me, fingers crossed. I have had a bit of a pain in the backside getting it going this morning, so if we can get it started, that'll be the good thing. So let's see how it goes. Right, first pull, so that's good. Obviously leave the head warm up a little bit, but it is idling up. Let's take that off. Adjust the head cam. So obviously using the handset. And the one thing I do like is the steering wheel on the car, on the handset. So nice and responsive. Car seems to be running well. It's taken me ages to get it to this point, mind, I'll be honest with you. Definitely needs a little bit of diff tuning. Let's put the body on. As I say, I have been having a few issues with the car. Ideally what I want to do is just get a few tanks through it, but range wise, car's ticking over nicely with it. Range wise, the range is pretty good. Right, okay, so car's been ticking over quite nicely here, getting at the temperature. Range is good. Yeah, so the one thing I'm noticing with the handset, guys, is it's very, very comfortable to use, and the range is really good. So car's feeling way better now. Let's just check if the fuel's topping up a little bit. Okay, so we do feel like we've got to a point with the car. I'm going to simulate something by you. So I'm going to simulate obviously the fail-safe that we set up. So with the car, if I knock it off, it'll go into a low state by there. Watch now, so it'll drive along, drive along, drive along, drive along. Fail-safe, there you go, jam brakes on. Range, not a problem though. And pause it 2 seconds while a gentleman comes down with his dog. Yeah, so handset's very decent for the money, guys, honestly. And that's not just because obviously I've got the RC8X, but I'm using it. Like I say, I'm using a LiPo in there as well, so battery life's going to be good, signal is decent. As you can see, right at the top of there. Turn it around. Could do with a little bit more gearing, but she's running really nice. Give it a bit more fuel. Flat out across here now. Oh, upside down. Very, very nice handset actually. Thank you Radiolink obviously for sending this over for the purpose of review. Guys, I will put a link in the description to where you can pick one of these up obviously. 40 quid guys, with all the features that I have on my RC8X. And well, not all, but the majority of. And I gotta say, at no point do I feel like I'm out of control here. Am I using a gyro? That is a question. No, gyro's turned off. Let's turn gyro on. I don't really need it with this car, mine. Now we're getting to a point, guys, with this car. I feel confident in taking it out and running it myself. So this is the first time I've actually run it all by myself. And there you go, guys. Couple of full tanks through it. Car's running very, very nice. When I said about the fail-safe, watch now. So obviously with the fail-safe simulator, with cars running along and then brakes turn on. So yeah, I'm very impressed with the handset. Works really well. For the money, 40 quid, it's a bargain. I'm really happy I've got through several tanks on this car, but all by myself now. So chuffed with that. Very chuffed. As you can see, she's absolutely filthy. Engine's got a decent temperature in her. So maybe, just maybe, we're at the point where I can now concentrate on diff tuning. So absolutely filthy, but let's turn the car off. As you can see, failsafe has just turned on, but let's just go heads up a second. But yeah, the car is actually running really nice. So huge shout out obviously to Phil and Sid for the advice on the car. It's taken me a lot of work myself as well to try and work out with the linkages and everything else. But yeah, doing well. It's been a complete pain in my backside, but obviously trying to get it working. But yeah, I just need to double down now and try and get tuning sorted and stuff like that. But we're getting there. We are getting there. As I say, big shout out to Radiolink for the RC6GS handset. Guys, as I say, link will be in description for this. Genuinely, very good handset. A bit old school looking. I know obviously some people will comment on the way it looks, but me personally, I've got no issues with that at all, as long as the functions work well, and it is comfortable. Nice little recess for your thumb, obviously the idle up, and the fail-safe works great, especially when you're using a Nitro. Steering wheel feels lovely. It feels exactly like my RC8X, and the fact I can also put one of my light bows inside, so big bonus. Range is very good, as I just demonstrated by here, going up there. And overall, really happy. Right, heads up, guys. Welcome back, guys. Okay, so very happy with the RC6GS. Big shout out to Radiolink, like I said. I'm not going to say any more about the handset. If you are contemplating a nice sort of pocket-friendly handset with packed full of features, definitely worth looking at. I will be putting Nitro cars onto this handset, and I'll keep it for that reason. Like I say, I've got my RC8X for my brushless cars. As for the Habao ST, finally I feel like we're kind of getting to where it needs to be. So range, no problem. The car's running safely. There was plenty of smoke coming out the back end of it. There was enough acceleration. I really would like a little bit more top end on applications like this, but to be quite honest with you, if you look at the areas just covered, you know, there's still tons of fun. Guys, again, huge thank you to Radiolink. Hope you're enjoying all the videos. Thank you for all the support. Until next time, check the box for more videos. Stay awesome. I'll catch you later.